Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to crack a code that you actually read every single day, probably without even realizing it, the language of charts. We're going to see how we can take a big, confusing mess of information and turn it into a clear, visual story that you get in a single glance.
Okay, so let's just start with a problem we all face. You get hit with something that looks like this, a raw list of words and numbers. It's a lot. It's hard to figure out what's important right away, isn't it? Your brain has to work way too hard just to find the patterns.
All right, check this out. It's a table of votes for ice cream at a birthday party. We've got our flavors, we've got our numbers, but who's the winner? You got to scan every single line to compare them. And this jumble of info, that's what we call data. Our job is to make this data talk. And really, that's all data is. It's just the raw material, right? Facts and figures all waiting for you to do something with them. It's kind of like a pile of wood, not very useful until you actually build something with it.
Okay, so how do we start building? Well, let's kick things off with one of the most intuitive tools ever, the Pictograph. Seriously, think of this as data's very first and maybe most fun storyteller.
A pictograph, well, it does pretty much what it sounds like, right? It uses pictures to show you the data. And it works so well because our brains are just wired to process images way, way faster than text. It's a total visual shortcut to understanding.
Now, every solid pictograph has 4 key parts. You've got the title that tells you what you're even looking at. Then the labels, which are your different groups or categories. The pictures, obviously, those are doing the counting for us. And maybe the most important part of all, the key. The key unlocks the whole thing. Without it, the chart is basically useless.
And building one? Super simple. First, slap a title on it, like Cars Washed. Next, list your labels. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then, and this is important, set your key. Let's make it easy. One little car picture equals one car washed. And finally, you just draw the pictures for each day. That's it!
And bam! Look at the result. You don't even need to read the numbers anymore, do you? You can just see, in a split second, that Monday was the busiest day. Why? Because it has the longest line of cars. That is the power of seeing your data.
Okay, so that one-to-one thing is awesome for small numbers. But what happens when you're dealing with a lot more data? Let's level up.
Exactly. What if instead of 7 cars, you had to show 70 or 700? Can you imagine drawing that many tiny pictures? No way! It would be a total nightmare. So clearly, that one-to-one system just isn't going to cut it for bigger numbers. And this is where the key becomes our secret weapon. We can switch from a simple one-to-one key to a scaled key. That just means one picture can stand for more than one thing. So for example, a single dog emoji could equal, say, 5 animals. It's a game changer.
Okay, let's see how this works. Check out this chart of adopted animals. The key tells us one symbol is 5 animals. So for dogs, we've got 7 symbols. You just do the math, 7 times 5, that's 35 dogs. For cats, it's 9 symbols times 5, which is 45. See, it's just simple multiplication, but it lets us show big numbers super easily. And that is the magic of a scaled key. When you add all that up, you realize that chart, those few little symbols, represented 180 animals that found new homes. We've told a pretty big story with just a handful of pictures. That's what I call efficient.
So pictographs are amazing. They really are. But sometimes you need something a little more precise or maybe just a cleaner look. And that brings us to the next step in the evolution of charts, moving away from literal pictures to the sleek, simple power of a bar chart.
A bar chart basically takes the same idea, longer means more, but it swaps out the fun little pictures for these clean, rectangular bars. The length of the bar shows you the exact value. It's a little more abstract, a little more official, you could say. So the parts here are a little different. You still have a title, of course, but now you've got these 2 lines called axes. The one on the bottom, the horizontal one, that's the x-axis. That's where your categories go. And the one going up the side, the vertical one, that's the y-axis. And it's basically your ruler for measuring the numbers. The bars just shoot up from the bottom to whatever their value is.
And building one is just as straightforward. You give it a title, draw your x and y axis, and then, and this part is super important, you pick a scale for that y-axis. Like, are you counting by 2s, 5s, 10s? You have to be consistent. Then you just draw your bars, making sure they're all the same width, and stretch them up to the right number on your scale.
All right, so now we have 2 awesome tools in our kit, the Pictograph and the bar chart. But
When do you use which one? Let's do a little head-to-head comparison. We'll take the exact same data and see how each one tells the story.
So here's our data for the showdown, the number of different trees in an orchard. We've got 5 types of trees with numbers from 15 to 35. And hey, notice anything? They're all multiples of 5. That's going to be perfect for a scaled key.
Okay, first up, let's see this as a pictograph. We'll set our key so one tree symbol equals 5 trees. So for orange trees, which had 35, we draw 7 symbols, because 7 times 5 is 35. For apple trees with 15, we just draw 3. It's super visual, really easy to get. All right, now let's see that exact same data as a bar chart. We line up our tree types on the bottom, put our number scale on the side, and then zoom! The bars shoot up to their exact values. The orange bar hits 35 on the nose, and the apple bar stops right at 15. So clean, so precise.
And here's the big takeaway. Look at them side by side. One uses cute little trees, the other uses simple bars. But they both do the most important job perfectly. They both show you, instantly, that orange is the most common tree. You don't have to think, you don't have to read numbers, you just know. They turn a list of numbers into an instant insight.
And really, this gets to the heart of it all. This whole process, grabbing information, sorting it out, and then showing it in a visual way, that's what we call pictorial representation. It's such a fundamental skill for just making sense of our crazy, complex world.
So I want to leave you with this question. Now that you know the building blocks, start looking around you. On the news, in a report at work, even on the side of a cereal box. What data stories are hiding out there in plain sight, just waiting for you to notice them?